Wish you could have been a Jet, Fernando.
Let's see what happens.
There's a ton of Jet fans who are huge fans of yours. What's your message to the Jet fans in New York?
J-E-T-S, Jet.
Live from Radio Row in Indianapolis, it's Combine time as teams look for their next superstar. Some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment will be right here. Get ready for the 2026 draft, baby. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Live at Radio Row inside the Indiana Convention Center, it is indeed the Jake Asman Show presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. And joining me right now is one of my favorite analysts in the business.
Wow.
You watch him on NBC.
Wow.
He's all over the YouTube space as well. Pro Football Talk with Mike Florio, of course. And he has a weekly on ESPN New York, which I think is the best segment in radio on the Michael K. Show.
Thank you, man.
So I got Chris Sims.
I appreciate that. You know, it's funny when you say, like, oh, he's all over YouTube, because I'm, like, not in that, age group where I'm like, what? I'm all over YouTube? But you're right. Everything is on YouTube now. It's just funny because I'm old school. And I'm like, man, it's Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 7, right? That's all I know in the Northeast.
I'm fascinated by your career, Chris, because obviously you were dabbling around with some coaching, it looks like, or front office work. Mm-hmm. When did you realize that a media career was something that maybe you could pursue?
I always had people I had a weekly spot in college with Dan Patrick. I had a weekly spot with my third year in the NFL with Dan Patrick. So I always had people going, man, you're really good when you're behind the mic. Like, have you ever thought about that? And then, of course, I got my dad who was in it. So I feel like I was learning through osmosis almost a little there. So it was always in the back of my mind. I love football. I probably when I got done playing, I went to New England and was quality control and had some scouting duties and all that. Probably went to the worst place to start as far as that's concerned. It's awesome because it's New England, but as any coach will tell you guys, you started in New England, you couldn't have started at the worst place because, you have no life. It was 20-hour work days every day, right? For, less than minimum wage. It's not even close to that. It's way less than minimum wage. So I got there. I loved the experience, but yes, a lot of work. I had young kids, and I was like, damn, I've been here for, 10 months, and I've seen my kids like 3 days. I don't know if this is what I want to do here going forward. I kind of recalibrated. I stayed with them for another year, and then I realized, I got an offer to be a quarterback coach with another team in the NFL. And I told my wife, and she's like, what? We're going to move again? And she's like, I don't know if I signed up for this. And I was like, yeah, I hear you. And that's kind of where I jumped into the media and, not far after that, got the Bleacher Report and kind of took off from there.
I think what a lot of fans really appreciate about your work is how honest you are. And I know sometimes when you're honest about people and people you have relationships with, it can be tough.
It definitely can.
So what has allowed you to almost be fearless with your opinions on football?
I work at it. I study it. I've learned from some really good people. And, I think I'm just not afraid to say it like I see it. I'm not going to compromise my, myself or my beliefs or whatever just because, I know this guy. So now I'm going to, BS and lie and tell you that he's kind of a good coach because I've hung out and had a beer with him one time. No, I'm not going to do that. And you know what? I'll tell you, the really good coaches or real good players know that they're going to get criticized and don't care that much. But it is tough because there's times where I have people that I can't believe you said this about my team or our team, GMs, coaches, and I want to go, okay, I said something negative. I've said like 50 positive things about you. I've never heard you call and go, hey, thanks for that. So either way, it's just my conviction and what I study, what I love to do. And I think anybody that ever has known me, that's just who I am. I'm a big mouth from Jersey who loves football, and that works in this department here.
Which is a perfect segue to the state of the New York Jets, because if we're being objective and honest about year one with Aaron Glenn, it was an unmitigated disaster.
Yep.
He has his job now going into year two.
Yep.
Give us your breakdown on the Jets entering this offseason, of course. So many questions. They made already a huge trade yesterday with Jermaine Johnson being shipped back to Robert Saleh in Tennessee now.
Yeah.
T'Vondre Sweat comes in.
Right.
Just give us your overall thoughts on where the Jets are at going into year two with Aaron Glenn.
Well, yeah, I mean, like you said, there's a ton of question marks. I mean, throughout everything, starting with him. What's he going to do? I was a guy last year that just banged the table over and over, and I was like, come on, Aaron Glenn, coach the defense. You were hired. I don't understand why defensive coaches do this. I don't. It's more of a defensive coach than offensive coach thing, and I don't get it. You're hired to coach the defense. You get the head coaching job, and you go, somebody else coach it. Go ahead. And it's like, what? I mean, what are we talking about here? Sean McVay coaches the offense. Kyle Shanahan coaches the offense. Mike McDonald was calling the defense of the Super Bowl. Mike Vrabel was calling the defense of the Super Bowl. So I'm excited that he's back doing that. So I definitely want him to do that.
Does it concern you that at no point he chose to step in when the Jets are losing game after game? And this is before they made the trades of Quinn and Sauce. They started 0-7 with those guys.
No, it did. It bothered me. I said that on my shows, on my podcasts all the time. I was literally yelling at it sometimes because I like Aaron Glenn. I want it to work. I do believe in him. I do. Now, I don't think they had necessarily all the right pieces for his scheme and what he wants to do because, we came from Robert Saleh, who ran the Seattle scheme, and they want different players. And you're seeing now the transition here, like the trade you talked about yesterday. That's, Detroit, when Aaron Glenn is Detroit, they want big people. They want space eaters in the middle. Robert Saleh wants people that are just fast and shoot gaps and do all that, right? I mean, Aaron Glenn wants a guy that's going to hold somebody up and just clog the middle. And then if the guy, runs here, he throws his guy and makes the tackle. So I think, again, getting the personnel right, him calling the plays, I think that was a good trade for them. Tavondre Sweat's going to be that big nose tackle, space eater type of guy. And now, with Will McDonald on the edge and this being a front seven draft here, right? This is a front seven draft. If you need people in the front seven, this is it. They can have a chance here to improve their defense big time.
Well, it feels like a huge debate now is at pick 2.
Yeah.
Do you go with Arvell Reese? Do you go with David Bailey? In the case of Reese, it feels like maybe a bit more projection if you see him as a guy that can line up on the edge because he just wasn't asked to do it a ton in college. And Bailey's a guy that you just watch the tape. I mean, he's explosive as a pass rusher.
Yeah, I don't know if you can. In just full transparency here, like I'm early stages here. I haven't deep dive. I'll come in later on when we get close to the draft and really nail it down who I think's better. I don't think you can go wrong with either guy as we sit here right now. I don't. Arvell Reese is a freak. I have no questions. I've seen enough of him to know he can rush the passer. He's going to be able to do that. He's going to be able to play on the edge. And he told me straight up, he goes, teams are looking at me to play the edge. And so I get that. Bailey is more explosive than people gave him credit for, naturally big guy, and really has some smarts about him too. So we'll see where it goes. I'll give you a better answer when I get closer to it, but I don't think you can go wrong either way as we sit here right now.
During a recent episode of your show with Florio, you guys had Frank Reich on before he became the Jets OC. I remember watching that going, this sounds like a guy that could be interested in coaching again if the right opportunity came about. Obviously, he's now the Jets offensive coordinator. What were your thoughts on that?
I loved it. I'm a big fan of Frank. I think Frank's got a little bit of a bad luck, unfair shake a little. I mean, he did a pretty good job with the Indianapolis Colts and did some things there. The quarterback situation was messed up. I mean, Andrew Luck retiring messed everything up for him, Chris Ballard, everything there. And yet they still were competitive and relevant through the whole thing, trying to find Phillip Rivers, who couldn't throw the ball past 20 yards. Carson Wentz, they were competitive there. Jacoby Brissett, they were competitive there. His biggest mistake was he took the Carolina job right away. And I always say this on my show to go, don't just take a job just to go, wait, I'm going to show them and take a job, because that could be your last chance to become the head coach, right? And then it adds to, look, Frank Reich, and it's just not the truth. So I think he's creative in his game planning, and he's going to be big in helping them figure out this quarterback situation as we go forward. And then also his level of experience allows Aaron Glenn to go, wait, I'm going to be with the defense all day today. Frank, you used to be a head coach. You're the man. You got the offense today, and I can focus this on there. And I think that's a winning formula.
How big of a deal is it that he played the quarterback position, right? He could see the game. You're a former quarterback as well. He could see the game through the lens of a QB.
Yeah, it's extremely important. And I think he has a vision of what he likes at the quarterback position. And we've had conversations in the past. There's of course nuance to figuring out a quarterback. I'm not saying I got it, perfect, right? I mean, I definitely don't. But I also have gotten some that nobody else was like, and I was like, I was right? So, but there's things about movements, the way the guy throws, the way the guy delivers the football, little things there just through your years of, yes, I played, and he played with Jim Kelly, and he saw Brett Favre in person, all that help you. They help you. I don't care what anybody says. The fact that I got to catch footballs from Tom Brady when I was working in New England, And so, during practice, I have to catch slants and do that. When I was growing up and I'd go to quarterback challenges and Brett Favre would be like, hey, Sims kid, or Dan Marino, they throw me balls. Like, it was a great experience, not only just to be a great experience, but I was like, ooh, he throws the ball like this. Ooh, he does that. And it helped me get better at my craft as I sit here now.
When you look at where the Jets are at, it's a very confusing situation because here they are with all these picks this year. They got 4 picks in the top 44. They have a ton of cap space. But it's not a great quarterback class, it doesn't feel like. The following year, they got 3 first-round picks in what should be a much better quarterback class. So if you're the Jets, how do you almost find a way to get through 2026? And if you're Aaron Glenn, you got to win more than 3 games. You got to win a lot more games to be here.
That bridge QB.
Right, to even get the chance to maybe take that swing in 2027.
It's bridge. Here's the bridge QB. We go for Malik Willis, who I think has a chance to be a superstar.
I heard you say that.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in Malik Willis, and somebody's going to, pay him something like $20 million a year. But I don't know if the Jets going to be willing to do that the year after they just did the Justin Fields thing. I don't know. He
might get more than Fields, who got $30 million guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean he might.
I'm Willis's agent. I'm saying Justin Fields has got $30 million guaranteed, and he's done nothing.
Right? No, exactly. We'll see. But he also doesn't have the amount of games played that Justin Fields did too. So that's going to make people a little, uneasy at times. But regardless, that's one option where if you sign him, you're hoping he can be the guy for the future and everything, right? But yet at the same time, you're not going to give him a long-term deal. You want, a 2-year deal, $40 million. Then just go, you got to prove it to us, and then maybe we'll give you, the extension. So there's that. Then it's the bridge starter, which is like Kirk Cousins. Could he come up here and play, right? They're going to release him in Atlanta. We know that. Somebody of that nature I'm talking about, to where, okay, he can hold down the fort, and then, maybe we could draft a quarterback this year and he sits behind him, or we just wait till next year, like you're saying. Or I think the third option is, do you want to trade down? Let's see where the Ty Simpson evaluation goes, right? I know 5's a little early. I know a lot of people think, oh, he'll be on the board at 20. Let me just say this about Ty Simpson. When you watch Ty Simpson, I said this on my podcast on Monday with Connor Rogers. When you watch Ty Simpson weeks 3 through 8 of the college season, he was the best quarterback in college football. I do think the more the real important evaluators get involved in this, they're going to go, wait, yeah, Fernando Mendoza's one, yes, but the gap between him and Ty Simpson is maybe not as great as I think the public is trying to say right now, is what I'll say right now.
In terms of Simpson, I keep hearing, well, he needs time to sit and learn. He's only made 15 career starts.
Yeah.
But how does he get better if he's not playing?
Yes.
Right? And then if you're the Jets, you take a quarterback in round 1, he needs some development. But do you have time to develop him? And then what if you're bad again, and then it's a better quarterback class, and all of a sudden, well, you don't know what you have in Ty Simpson, and you want to take a different quarterback a year from now?
I'm always a believer in play the guy, and I do think he's a very mature, young man who's like, he's ready to play that way. He's not going to be overwhelmed by the mental aspects. He's been at Alabama. He's been under pressure. He's had Nick Saban yelling at him on the practice, the scout team and all of that. So he's gotten a lot of good football IQ reps in the background. But yeah, the amount of snaps he's played actually definitely a little concerning. I wasn't sure if he was going to come back, but like I said, if they did draft him, you see where that goes, and you kind of evaluate it. And again, if this is the bridge quarterback thing, and all of a sudden Ty Simpson, you draft him and he's kicking butt in training camp, then maybe that changes your aspect about sitting him for the year or whatever else. But again, what I will say, Alabama couldn't run the ball. They couldn't play defense. They were in the college football playoff because of Ty Simpson and the 3 receivers. They carried the team, and he had moments of being like, wow. I was on TV on week 8 on NBC, and I said, Ty Simpson's the MVP. I mean, the Heisman. He's the Heisman. Then he got hurt and banged up, and he kind of got beat to shit. Sorry. And, he didn't put his best foot forward at the end of the year.
I think that's well said. In terms of evaluation of quarterbacks, Chris, because at times you're not afraid to go out on a limb and maybe have a consensus or go against the consensus.
Well, yeah.
But what is the biggest red flag when you're evaluating a QB? When you see something on tape, you go, yep, this is something that I know right away this is not going to work.
Well, you got to have a consistent throwing motion that I feel like you can be accurate and replicate over and over. That'd be the first thing. I mean, you got to hit the targets, right? So that's where it starts.
So accuracy is your number one
Accuracy is really probably the number one. Sometimes I don't say it because I'm like, it's a given. Do I have to say that? Like, I mean, if he can't.
I mean, Woody Johnson said the Jets would be good if Justin Fields could complete a pass. So maybe it needs to be said.
It does need to be said at times too. And Woody wasn't totally off there. I was kind of echoing the same sentiments there. I mean, it's hard to win a football game when your quarterback won't even throw to some guys that are open because he doesn't trust where the ball's going to go when it comes out of his hand. So I look at that, but then talent, talent, and then the mindset. Like Fernando Mendoza just blew me away. I just interviewed him a few minutes ago. And I always ask quarterbacks to like grab the football and grip it and do stuff like that. And then I'd like to hear what they say about it. He gave me an answer that only a few people have given. He gripped the ball. He did it. I went, ooh, wow, that's a different way to grip it. Not many people put their ring finger right where you put it. He put it on the third slot. And he goes, yeah, Brett Favre. And I went, whoa, because I'm like the only person that knows stuff like that. And Brett Favre's the only quarterback I ever knew that put the ring finger on the third slot. And he knew that. And to me, the only quarterbacks I were around in this process before that knew stuff like that, Caleb Williams, Patrick Mahomes.
Wow.
So those are things I look at.
Jet fans love hearing this, by the way. Now the Raiders are at 1, the Jets have the same record as the Raiders. Strength of schedule percentage points is why they can't get Mendoza.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, Mendoza's got a little bit of the Peyton Manning, I'm obsessed, I know everything about everything type of vibes. Right, it might be a little nerdier than Peyton Manning, but regardless, it's all in on that. But then the other thing is talent. Like people always look up for all these things. Like, oh, he's got this, he's got it, he knows how to win. Like blah blah blah, bull crap. Yeah, Tim Tebow knew how to win at Florida. He can't throw the ball. Matt Leinart knew how to win at USC. Yeah, because you throw the ball 4 feet to Reggie Bush and he runs for 70 yards. Yeah, you know how to win. So, the talents, you look at the great quarterbacks of all time, they had supreme talent. Tom Brady's arm is all time. Peyton Manning's brain, size, speed, arm strength was real good, maybe not an all-time arm. But John Elway, right, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, what is it? It's talent. And then they have the other stuff that we're kind of talking about. So I guess, to sum it up without getting too long of an answer here, it's that's what I look for.
I know you never played in New York, but obviously your dad was the ultimate champion in New York. You've lived in the New York area, so you know how difficult the New York media market can be, especially if you're the Jet quarterback.
Yeah.
How important is the mental makeup in the evaluation process of that position?
It's huge. You got to have a guy that can just be like this in New York. Or it's like Jackson Dart, where he's just like, yeah, more attention. I don't care. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to show you. It's got to kind of be one or the other.
It's like the chip on the shoulder, Baker Mayfield type of personality. Does that play as well?
That would have been interesting to see. I don't know. Right? Because, there could be some bad games and he gets chippy and he fights back against the New York media. And then they're like, hey, screw you. And you're on the New York Post the next day with, a bunch of funny headlines. So I think you've seen Phil Simms and Eli Manning succeed because they're like this, like all the time. A little bit of that.
And they're two of the toughest quarterbacks ever.
Tough, can handle it, thick skin, take the criticism, do all that. So, yeah, those are the things you got to figure out because New York is a little bit of a different animal that way, and you certainly need to be able to handle that extra attention.
All right, a couple quick hitters before we wrap this up.
Yeah.
In your career, you played for John Gruden. Did you ever imagine him having this Renaissance media-like career over the last couple of years since he joined Barstool?
No. I did not really imagine. I figured he'd still be coaching football, right? But I think that's kind of that ship sailed. It's gone. He's burned too many bridges in the NFL for sure. I don't think he'll be back there.
Even if the reports were true that the Jets maybe inquired about him joining the staff?
I can understand that. But, John Gruden's not going to be the assistant to somebody. Are you kidding me? I mean, he's John Gruden. There's no way. That's crazy thought.
But do you think if the Jets, and apparently it was Aaron Glenn who called him, that's what the Jets media relations team put out there, that no, it wasn't just Woody through back channels, it was Aaron Glenn called him to gauge interest.
Yeah.
You have to run that by ownership if you're going to bring in a guy who's suing the NFL, right? So if that's the case, if they were interested, do you think other teams might be interested in him eventually getting a chance?
Maybe. It's a tough one. Like I said, his reputation is a little all over the place, and he's a big name too. Not every head coach is going to go, oh, I want this guy so he can show he's good, and then they were going to fire me and make him the head coach or something that way as well. What was the main question there?
Basically his media career.
But his career, I mean, he's got an incredible personality, as you know. And I mean, he's funny as hell. He loves football. So I'm not shocked to see him succeed at Barstool and have fun and making everybody laugh on social media.
There's a lot of old clips that have resurfaced of him coaching you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what was that experience like for you? What is your fondest memory of being coached by Gruden?
Well, there's always clips of there's a clip of me on my third day in training camp where he threw me in unexpectedly single-handedly and gave me like a play that I had never run or called before. It was really supposed to be Brad Johnson in the starters play. I kind of had my rookie package of plays, and I bumbled and stumbled all over myself and choked to death over it, and that's the one you see. But playing for him was awesome. I mean, he's a quarterback guru. Every day it was energy. It was the hot poker next to your ass. You got to get better. You got to get better. I learned so much football for him and really had a great time down there in Tampa with him.
He always loves to ask quarterbacks what their snap count is.
Yeah.
Can you give the Jake Asman Show audience the Chris Sims snap count?
Sure. He actually even said something, I think, on Barstool not long ago about my hard count. But yeah, I mean, I was probably a big blue 80 guy. So I've been blue 80. Blue 80, right? That would have been just your normal one. But then again, his offense, it's like West right slot, 72Z bingo, use split, can it with 58 Lexus. Let's apple it with 96 Seattle, dummy snap count on 1. And then I'd walk to the line of scrimmage with the dummy snap count. And our code word would have been Mike Tyson or John Rocker because they were kind of dummies at the time. So we would say that. I'd be going, Tyson. So everybody knew. I might get a guy and give him fake motion and go through the blue 85, said, and then go, hey, check. All right, we're running the 58 Lexus. Everybody knows that now. Blue 45, said, hot. And then go, right?
I think tons of people in the New York area just jumped off sides.
You're funny.
Chris Sims, watch him on NBC. His podcast, Chris Sims on Button as well. An awesome football mind. Chris, continued success, man.
Thanks, Jake. You're the man, dude.